What is going on, guys? Another day, 4th of November, crossed off the calendar. Today's been a super interesting one for me. So I think it was yesterday's video where I mentioned that I've been bored and kind of overstimulated and just sat here with nothing to do. And what I found myself doing was sitting here and scrolling, was brain rotting, as people call it nowadays. And it got to the point where I was just sick of it. I was like, what am I doing? I'm literally wasting my life. A lot of you know that I stopped watching short form content a long time ago. I recently, over the past month, started watching it again, and I just, like I said, been sat here brain rotting, and I got sick of it. Last night I said to myself, I'm not using my phone. Apart from for messages, calls, and maybe while I'm driving, the occasional podcast, music in the gym, I'm not using it. So I'm not watching any form of content. And it's been a huge realization. Constantly this morning I was reaching for my phone. It's an addiction. I made an Instagram post today saying I thought I got sober, but I actually still have an addiction, and that's this thing we're all watching this on right now. It's taken over our whole lives, and a lot of us know this, but it's easy to brush off because we don't see any necessary negatives apart from wasting time. But I think there's a lot more negatives to it than people realise. I think it's affecting people's mental health. For starters, on Instagram you see the best of the best parts of people's lives. It's called highlights for a reason. We never see the negative parts of their life. So of course we know everyone has the odd negative thing in their life, but I think subconsciously we kind of forget that. And when we're scrolling, we're just getting these constant different emotions. Every single short form piece of content, if you didn't realise it, releases an emotion. And that's why they're so addictive. That's why you keep scrolling and scrolling, because every single one is giving you a slight dopamine hit. Whether it's that negative release of shame, not feeling as good as the person you're watching. Whether it's that positive release of, I really relate with this person. I love this content. This dog video was amazing. Really made me laugh. Every single one releases an emotion. So literally today, like I said, for only calls, I listened to a podcast on a drive and messages. I haven't consumed a single piece of content, and I've read pretty much all day. It's been super weird, very weird. It almost feels like when I first got sober that, this is something new. It's like a weird, positive change in your life. There was 3 things actually that I wrote down in my diary today of how I felt, or things that I noticed. Where's the diary? That's interesting. I don't know where it is. I'll write more tomorrow and I'll speak about it tomorrow, exactly how I'm feeling, but I'm someone who puts out content. So obviously this YouTube video, my Instagram content. So a lot of people will think this is probably really hypocritical, or maybe think, well, you're the problem because you put the content out. Which in a way, I agree. And even though I put content out, I would still tell people, rather than watching any content, rather than even watching me, go out into the real world. As people say, touch some grass. Spend time with loved ones. And I think there's a time and a place for everything. I don't think a movie once a week is that bad. But I do think scrolling short form all day, even on lunch breaks, even when you just get in bed and like I said, I've replaced the scrolling with reading today. And I feel a lot more productive. Oh yeah, that was one thing that I wrote in the diary. I feel like... this morning I felt a little bit lost. I didn't know what to do. I said to myself later on I'll read. But whilst I wasn't reading, I was stood here. I made my breakfast, I'd eaten, I was like, what do I do? right now I'd be scrolling or watching YouTube, or it's a little bit different for me right now because a lot of you know I'm not working a job, so there is a lot of free time. So it's probably even harder, hence why I was scrolling a lot more. But I found myself looking for chores. I found myself looking for jobs around the house that haven't been done in months. Small things, or simple things like I'd notice myself rushing certain things, even eating, even showering, even, I don't know, just rushing anything so that I could, rushing cooking so I could eat and watch content, rushing anything so I could get into bed and watch more content. And it's all subconsciously, like we don't really realise we're doing it, but a lot of us are doing it. Yeah, like I said, it's been super interesting today, and I think I'll document on here how this goes over the next week. It will be different when I get a job because I'll have a lot more time to work rather than just be sat here. But for now, there's about 7 books on that shelf, probably 4 of which I haven't read. So there's stuff to do. I think it's much more positive reading, especially non-fiction, factual books, than scrolling this all day. I've been in the same process where you're consuming like self-improvement content, but it really, I've consumed so much over the past 3 or 4 years. How much has actually stuck? How much has actually positively influenced me to get the needle moving? A lot of it is just mental masturbation. Literally. But yeah, I've just got this huge sense of peace today. When we used the iPhone for the first time, we bit into the tree of knowledge in the story of Adam and Eve, the forbidden fruit. That's why there's a bite out the apple on the back of your iPhone if you have an iPhone. How interesting is that? None of us realise it, or a lot of us don't, but we've bitten the tree of knowledge. And I think it's taken away from the real world a lot. But it is what it is. A lot of people carry on doing it. I just thought I'd put this video out to tell you my experience just from day one. I feel extremely positive. From yesterday feeling extremely drained. Interesting. But I don't want to keep it too mundane. Enjoy yourselves, guys. Do whatever the fuck you want. But be aware of what you're doing. At least when you are scrolling, be aware, okay, I've just spent 25 minutes watching content. I think it's time to get something done. Okay, I've just sat next to my partner for an hour and watched YouTube. Maybe let's communicate. Crazy. Anyway, guys, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. I'm not sure what day it is. I'm making a YouTube video every single day. But we're getting to the end of the year. See you in tomorrow's video. Whoop.